Hi. Well, I
Howdy.
apologize. It's good to see you,
It
Joe.
is
I do
excellent
apologize, apparently, as I did my wrap up for Sarah with that truly heartfelt presentation she just gave. I believe my mic is muted, so that's never a good thing.
well,
So,
you know, all this technology was going to make things so much easier and be so foolproof. And it's just, I mean, it's great. It's brilliant. I mean, today we live in a world that's like completely science fiction. You and I can have this conversation. You can have this summit with people all over everywhere. And we all come together in a community, and it's brilliant. However, it's not foolproof.
it
And there's
it
always
really
something that
isn't.
can get in. Like, for example, what we haven't said is that a mere 2 minutes ago, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a picture. And it was like, OMG, what are we going to do? And I very calmly, luckily, was able to grab a different computer and fire it up. We don't know what's going on with the other one, but here we are. We're all cool. And it's going to be great. So
I
thank
agree
you for
with you.
allowing me to
So
be here.
I appreciate you giving people a little bit of a lens. What was the little bit of a flurry that was happening behind the scenes a
Oh my
couple of
God. Yeah.
minutes ago, and I thought, "Oh, there I go." Like you said, "OMG, I just realized I didn't unmute the mic when I did that." But it's all good, so let's just start from the beginning. So,
Sure. And it's,
for the
go
people
ahead.
who've just been listening, this is Reverend Joe George. He's a gifted medium, tarot reader, teacher with really over 3 decades of experience working in the metaphysical arts. Joe, you've studied, practiced, and taught tarot for what, over 30 years? And your work also includes pendulum dowsing. You do Reiki, you're a trance medium. Your path weaves together and it's grounded in Christianity and a lifelong exploration of the world with different religions and cultures. I mean, I literally could talk to you for hours once we get going, but you're really deeply immersed in the metaphysical practice. And I know that you've been affiliated with the United Metaphysical Churches for quite a long time. Your spiritual. So today I wanted to talk about spiritual ritual and ceremony and how that can support calm presence and nervous system regulation in everyday life. So it's just like we just talked about what we went through, and our nervous systems were just a little lit up. So it's like take a deep breath, talk a little slower. And I will say it's good to see you again. It's been more than a few hot minutes since last time we've talked.
It has been a little bit too long, but it's interesting that we talk about, oh my God, stress, and all those feelings a lot of people are going through. Um, the examples this morning is the kind of thing you can run into, like, oh goodness, this isn't working. What am I going to do? And you're right. It's a certain amount of control that's required because if you don't do that, then the fight or flight response that we've gotten for survival kicks in and the heart rate goes and the stress goes up and it doesn't seem right and you're going around and it's getting and sometimes the answer is just very simply to say stop, take a deep breath, relax, and then actually maybe you can then see that the problem's not really that big. Do you know what I mean? Much like we just went through with the cameras and the audio and things like that. And how does that relate, that level, let's say, relate to the everyday person who has out there who's maybe confronted with all sorts of stress, whether you're the private personal caregiver for someone in your circle that is touched with a medical challenge, or maybe perhaps you're just too involved in watching what's going on globally, and that's disturbing you. All these different kinds of things that can affect you. It maybe you don't have an answer, and here we are going to try and give you one. For example, my background is geared toward tarot. And in tarot, there are a couple of different ways you can approach these kind of stresses. You can maybe reach out to the cards and connect and maybe find some insight, or if you don't want to do that, you don't really are, or you're not really linked in, let's say, to the idea of, well, I'm going to maybe get into that horrible, awful divination kind of thing. Well, you don't really have to do that divination kind of thing because I'm going to just grab the deck, pull it up, and I don't know what this card is. And we've never met or any of those kind of carnival things, but here we go. It's a picture, it's art. And this comes back to the visual medium. Art is there to help people. It teaches people, it calms you, it excites you. It is this incredible visual input. Do you follow what I mean? So, okay, we can do the cards and you could maybe learn what the King of Wands is about, or and maybe use that input to try and resolve your issue and get yourself calmed so you can focus. Or maybe you can just look at the picture and use it as something of means to connect because of the meditative state that you can get into by looking at the different colors or the image and starting to question, like, what is this person doing? Is he comfortable? Is he what have you? And slow that nervous system down. Do you follow what I mean? And get it more under, not, I'm going to say under control, but that kind of sounds a little strict, maybe. Get it more calm, if you will. And that way you begin the process of being able to calmly go through life. And with facing the problem or the challenge really that you've been given. And then maybe you can remember that you were never given challenges we can't overcome. That's part of the deal of being here. So is it easy as a human being to think, oh my goodness, this is way too big? Yeah. Yeah, because we have a highly ingrained survival instinct, let's say. And so you're saying, wow, this is a threat. I can't survive. Do you follow what I mean? But maybe it's not such a big threat after all. Maybe we just need to get that calm going. Do you follow what I mean? And be able to say, oh, all right, this isn't that bad. I can deal with this. Do you follow what I mean?
I do. And, I think ritual's one of those words that gets a bad rap sometimes. We're involved in very ordinary daily rituals that we don't see as rituals many times, such as, savoring that morning cup of coffee when you get up to start your
Absolutely.
day. I mean, that's absolutely a ritual. But many people have distanced themselves from ritual because of maybe rigid or harmful religious experiences in the past. How can someone reclaim ceremony in a way that feels more sovereign and safe and personally meaningful?
We have to remember that, and I don't want to be politically incorrect or slam anybody's beliefs because everybody's allowed to have the beliefs they have. And it's important. If there is a supreme being, sorry, which we all agree there is, and if they are omnipotent and all knowing and all powerful, which they must be by definition, well, then it has to kind of fall logically that this entity must have the ability to communicate and reveal itself to each one of us in the way it makes most sense to each one of us. You follow? So it can be best understood. Otherwise, it wouldn't necessarily be a supreme being. Now, that follows to say everybody has within them the ability to connect and maybe take a step back from things that aren't working for them. Do you know what I mean? The first thing you might want to say is, well, this isn't working for me, and I need to um, do something about that. So maybe you can take back and stop and try and smell the flowers, so to speak. You know, that cup of coffee ritual is important to people. The way I deal with the world is much like that. I have an ordered, and this is a good thing, an ordered way I look at the day. I get up, I do certain things, and I proceed with my day. Now you would say, okay, you're just getting up and going to face the world. You're right. But what is a ritual except an ordered procession of things, events, and thoughts that get you from point A to point B? You follow me? So you
Yes.
may actually, even though you have a background that might be challenged by some negative effects, we'll say, You may actually have a ritual going right now and you don't even know it. Do you follow what I mean? So now maybe you can take the next step to saying, wow, I have a ritual and I really did control it because I got up this morning, I got downstairs, I picked up the paper, I put on the coffee, and I did that. Well, then maybe I can try breathing or open myself up to other inputs. Because again, like the control of the nervous system, it's not just about tarot and divination. It's about a broader sense of things that you're bringing to the world today and letting everybody see that can help you calm yourself and be better able to have a better life and deal with the crazy around us in a more effectual way. Or do you follow what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
among the different rituals you can have would be that coffee process, the morning process. It could be something as simple as across the religions saying your morning prayers. If you look at the various religions, all the big ones, and some of the little ones too, like native belief systems and things, there's some way of connecting with spirit at some point in the day to say, "Hey, thank you for all the great things I've got." Do you follow what I mean? So there's a ritual right there, and you can design that to be whatever makes the most sense to you. Do you know what I mean?
That makes sense. I think a lot of times we get caught up in terminology, just as, you were talking about, being politically correct with the supreme creator. I think that there's agreement, there's something out there, but everyone may have a different terminology out there. So when you talk about ritual, I know for me personally, years ago when people talked about you creating an altar, um, for your with your different tools that you work with, sometimes with more ceremony type of rituals, I would struggle with it because I had some religious indoctrination from childhood with it. And as much as I loved the work and I believe there was meaning, there was something about that word altar that would just shift everything for me. And I will say, I had a friend who's changed the whole, she shifted everything for me. She's like, it's not an altar, it's a workbench. These are your tools on your workbench. And this is what you're
Precisely.
using for ceremony for whatever it is that you're bringing to either release or bring in. And it was just so fascinating to me when you can shift just one word, how that shifts everything.
It's exactly what we're talking about. Because again, now this makes sense to you. Now, the person next door, that might not make sense to them. They may need the bells and the smells and the candles and the scents and all those things to connect. Great. That's awesome. Please do that. Do you know what I mean? Because that is what's going to make you feel warm and fuzzy at the end of the day. And it's kind of what it's all about. Being able to connect with spirit in a manner that makes you feel fulfilled. Wow, that's pretty good. I got to write that down. But yeah, I mean, um, I too, have been exposed to the idea of having an altar. The one time I tried it, but the dog we had at the time ate the stones. So that didn't work out. And maybe that was a message to me to saying, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you don't, maybe you need to spin it a different way and make a different tool bench, a toolbox kind of thing. And so, it all works out. It's easy when the dog eats all the stones and things to go, oh, blah, 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 and, turn your back on it. But maybe the answer really isn't don't turn your back on it, stop and go, okay, well, this didn't work. Let me try that. It's like Thomas Edison said, it tried some amazing, like well over 100 ways to build a light bulb. And in an interview once, they were talking to him about that. And they said, wow, you did all this work to make the light bulb. He says, well, no, I only did one of those experiments to make a light bulb, which worked. I did 99 other ones that didn't work. Do you follow what I mean? So it wasn't about all the things they did. It was about facing up, oh, this didn't work, and trying the next thing and the next thing until you found the one that did.
So you've talked about ritual in two different ways. You talked about smelling the flowers and how that's very calming, and then you pulled the card from the tarot deck, which I do want to go back to before we're done because when you pull a card has meaning. So I'm curious what your thoughts on that are. It's definitely intentional what comes out. But a lot of times, someone might be going out to an oracle deck or something like that for questions, answers to questions. How do you differentiate between when someone's using ritual for spiritual bypassing or they're using it more for common regulation?
Well, I think in a way, they're the same thing. Do you follow what I mean? Because both of those things are going to help you move through the chaos that we call it chaos we find the modern world in. All these various inputs that come and overwhelm us. I mean, um, I think that truthfully, it's not just about the tarot, it's about the visual input and connecting because art is art and art moves us, if you follow what I mean. But now there are other cultures, traditions out there that may not use the Western idea of art. If you don't want to use tarot decks, oracle decks are perfectly fine. Why? Because that's what resonates to you. Do you follow what I mean? You don't have to use a tarot deck. You could use the oracle deck. You could use um, any sort of visual input, if you will, that you find comforting. In the Islamic tradition, they do not like to have graven images, but they have this fantastic geometric patterning that is used in meditative states. And in some of the Eastern traditions, they have what you call mandalas, which I don't have a copy of right now, but they're circles and symbols with colors and shapes and things. And in the Native American traditions, you might have sand painting or something else of that. They're all visual tools to use to connect and to calm and to maintain a spiritual thing because in a way you can't go through life not being affected by spirit. I think it should be interwoven within us to be kind of sort of one and the same thing. If you follow what I mean.
Okay. So for people who are feeling the overwhelm, in this chaotic world that we're in right now, and they're starting to feel dysregulated, what are some thoughts or recommendations that you would have for people to just use a small ritual? So when we talk about ritual and ceremony, it doesn't always have to be some big event. So we've been through the solstice and we've just had the full moon and the new moon, and a lot of people do much more intentional rituals, bigger things with that. But just for the everyday things in life, what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's a good place to start. Find something simple to start. A lot of times we have these great intentions. I'm going to move the world. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And the sheer volume of work to do all that overwhelms you. So don't set yourself up to fail. Start simply. Start just by recognizing, to use the example, getting up in the morning and putting the coffee on. That something you do with regularity is a ritual. And from there, go from there. If you wanted to try, say, the tarot, you could take any deck you wanted and maybe learn a little bit about it, but just use the pictures. And you could say, I'm going to start with this one picture that I'm pulling up now, the world, and how does that make me feel?
Huh.
How does that go? Do you follow what I mean? Can I calm with that? Does it help me answer? Whatever that says to you, then go with that. If it's your oracle decks, same kind of thing. Maybe you find a piece of music that you find exceptionally moving. I mean, you can't explain it because maybe you've never listened to this type of music before. Go with that. Do you know what I mean? There are so many different small tools that you can use to basically start your day or start your time. It doesn't have to be the first thing in the morning. It could be any time of the day you find time for it. Um, Say you have a commute and maybe you take a public transportation and maybe you have time to sit down and just be, watch the world go by. Do you follow what I mean? There are all these opportunities that you say, I feel I need to change and I feel I need to grow and I want to feel better. And that seems insurmountable. So back away from that and just do something simple. Maybe you live near the park, and maybe you can take once a week, take 10 minutes to walk through the park or just sit there and watch the birds. Follow what I mean? Maybe you have the blessing to be near a shrine. You could go check out the shrine, just walk through it or be there. Do you follow what I mean? Maybe if you live near the beach, you could go to the beach and just watch the water for 35 seconds or a minute and a half or an hour, whatever you fall into. All of these types of things can help us create our own rituals and move upward from there. You can make this as complex as you want, but I would suggest you want to start small and easy just because you don't want to overwhelm yourself with the work. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So where do you think what role does intention play with rituals?
Well, I think intention comes into the idea that, okay, I've progressed a little bit now. I've got this ritual thing going a little bit. But I really got a question, and maybe I want to find out how the day is going to go, or where do I need to be today? And we'll use that as an example. And we'll use the card I just pulled up, the world.
Love that card. It's a
It's
beautiful
a
card.
great card. It's a great
Like,
card.
that's a life is good card. After what we
It
just went through
is.
to get you on, and then you pulled that, I'm like, life is good, man.
It is. And to give you the tarot lecture part, which was, we'll bring in, there'll be no test later. The tarot, this is a card that ends the major arcana. The major arcana is something that reflects archetypes that are all universal to all of us, through all cultures and everything like that. And this is the end of the journey. It's the end of the journey. And like you just said, it's a great card. It's positive energy. It's success. It's got some spiritual images around the side, and it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, some tools and stuff. And there is a drag about this card, which is that you've completed everything. You've done it. You've been a success. And it's wow. Now you get to stop, go back to the beginning and try the next thing. You follow what I mean? Because
Yes.
life is about
Yes,
growth and
absolutely.
life is about progress. So, and let's face it, if you're going to have the downside to something in a ritual or card or belief, having completed everything successfully and getting that energy and getting the and then having you go try something else is not such a bad downside, really, when you think about
No,
it.
not at all, not at
But
all.
like where I could drag this today, all right, I pull this up today and say, wow, today's going to be a positive day. And I feel positive because of the positive imagery. I don't need to know the various explanations all the people have for this card because you don't really need them. You don't need, it's not necessarily relevant to the feeling good from the image part and getting a boost up to get your day going or continuing in a positive manner.
Wow, I have to tell you, that's a great way to end on. It's believe it or not, our time is up. This was just a really quick 20-25 minutes. So I want to thank you for your perseverance for getting on here.
Oh my
I'll
goodness.
go with well done, well done. And as always, you are just such a wealth of information. I think that rituals and understanding rituals and the importance of them and demystifying them are really important as we move forward with the chaos of the world because it's right in front of us. It's an easy tool. So much
Thank
gratitude,
you so
friends.
thank you. And thank you so much for letting me be here. Thank you to all of you for tuning in and checking this all out. And it's going to be great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care, Joe.
Bye-bye. Thank
Oh,
you.
for people who want to connect, I'm so sorry. I'm so caught up in our conversation. So, for those of you out there who are listening, Joe is amazing. And if you would like to connect with him, you can email him at revjoeg@Comcast. So that is revgoeg@Comcast.net.
.net. Yes, and thank you very much for your website. Whether you can down to the speakers list, you can just click my name and there's a little button that speeds the whole process up
Yeah,
because Sandra does a
absolutely.
fabulous job. So thank you guys all very much for being here. Have a great summit, and I look forward to this just being great. Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.